Chapter 47. Forcible Entry and Detainer. Section 673. Forcible Entry. Forcible entry consists in violently entering upon real property which is in the occupation of another, without legal authority, and with threats, menaces or force in arms. To constitute forcible entry, the act must be accompanied by violence, either real or apparent. Actual force, however, is not essential. Where a number of people so terrorize the occupants of the premises by menaces and threats that they give up possession, it is sufficient. On the other hand, actual force which is merely enough to make the entry a mere trespass is not sufficient. As said by Justice Dewey, to sustain an indictment for a forcible entry, the entry must be accompanied with circumstances tending to excite terror in the owner, and to prevent him from maintaining his right. There must at least be some apparent violence, or some unusual weapons, or the parties attended with an unusual number of people, some menaces, or other acts giving reasonable cause to fear that the party making the forcible entry will do some bodily hurt to those in possession if they do not give up the same. It is the existence of such facts and circumstances, connected with the entry, that removes it from the class of cases of civil injury, to be redressed in actions of trespass or other civil proceedings, and holds the party thus making an unlawful entry amenable to the public as for a public wrong. Where the entry is accomplished by mere artifice or trick, it is not sufficient to render the act indictable. The fact that statutes provide other remedies for the parties aggrieved does not prevent the offence from being punishable criminally at common law. The preservation of the public peace still requires that the offence be indictable. The term force and arms does not imply sufficient force to sustain an indictment for this offence, but the additional words, "and with a strong hand," would render the allegation sufficient. Section 674. Forcible Detainer. Forcible detainer consists in violently keeping possession of lands or tenements, without legal authority, and by means of threats, menaces or force in arms. Forcible entry and detainer are both misdemeanors at common law. Though usually referred to conjunctively, they are distinct offences. The offender, however, may be prosecuted for either or both. To sustain a criminal prosecution, at common law, for forcible entry and detainer, it has been held that both the entry and detainer must be forcible. On the other hand, it has been held that a forcible detainer will relate back to the entry, and if the latter was unlawful, though peaceable, it is sufficient. By statute, the possessory action of forcible entry and detainer has been extended to certain cases of constructive force, as where a tenant holds over after his term,